prayers, either on page 1 of the text or on the screen, I think. If it's not the screen, then just in the text there in front of you, page 1. From the heart of the Saviour, 100 deities of Tashita, on the peak of a cloud resembling a clump of extremely white, fresh curd. King of the Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, in a line-thrown lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with light. Supreme field of merit from a mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, light scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite 3 vows that I've collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in degenerate age, and made your freedoms and riches as meaningful by abandoning the 8 worldly concerns. Save you will sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus from billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of the Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound, extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I've collected benefit teachings for all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. And so then on page 5, we do in Tibetan phonetics, mandala offering. Sa shi po ki joy she me tok nam ri ra bling shi ni de gam pa di Sangye Shindu Mite Ova Yidu Honanda Kila Chopashok. By the merits having offered this mandal to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teaching of the victorious one, Losandrapa, who had the morality of an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in extensive conduct to the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of the 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamiya Tayami. Then on page 6, where it says visualization for cleaning impurities. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of the tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. And then across to page 8. We recite this, these 5 line verses here 3 times. Mime ze we te te chen re zi jime kempe wampo jumpa yan dumo palu jongwe sanwe dang gan chen tempen sen kan sang kapa Losandra ble sabla so wa de Mime se we te te chen re zi jime kempe wampo jumpa yan dumo palu jongwe sanwe dang gan chen tempen sen kan sang kapa Losandra ble sabla sowa de mimize we te te chenrezi dreame kempe wampo jamba yang numo palu jowe sanwe da ganchen tempen zen sankapa Losandra blesa blasovade. Okay, so then here's a prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche on page 9. Lama Zopa Rinpoche is the spiritual head of this center here, and the other centers in our organization, the FPNT. And then he passed away last April, so for his swift return. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Sravaka and Padyeka Buddhas, victorious Losam, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge, the infinite lands, please bestow the virtue of goodness and accomplish this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, through all the Yama of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, from other living beings you suddenly departed to peace, what a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth, the blessings, the ocean, the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta, the children of the victorious ones, and the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Anji Chödan Tsojun Chonum La Changju Pardo Dami Kyabsun Dagi Chöshi Yebon Dagi Drolam Pench Sanjin Drupara Sho Sanji Chödan Tsojun Chonum La Changju Pardo Dami Kyabsun Dagi Chöshi Yebon Dagi Drolam Pench Sanjin Drupara Sho Sanji Chödan Tsojun Chonum La Changju Pardo Dami Kyabsun Dagi Chöshi Yeban Dagi Drolam Ben Sanjin Drupara Sho Kangi Tuzini Zoni Tawa Tamche Pambi Chere Tambi Chun Tunse Kodum Tela Changse Lo Namo Laye Kedan Lo Dono Zegi Tribun Dana Mi Kedan Dro Kunji Janam Chisama Tamche Kintu Dagi Chuten To. Good morning, everyone. Shokadele.
Shokadele.
Tering anzun namshit tes sawado che one china beach la fa andronira. Then kiwi yasares.
That's a.
Janzukala andronira.
So today here the weather is a bit warm and humid, so it might be good if we just go to the beach and enjoy.
Imba inya danganzun mira wasirwa. And beach nangla la kibutangi nyatazo nyo takwa degora sira. Danganzun mi inza ta tile lawa chik. Rwa. Chomden digi labjana la yores tarwa. Danganzun mi rwa mi inza. And rwa mi di tundru li kyabar pawa chik. Tundru da mandrawa kechu chik. Milayan tomo mayimbi. Ani kechu chik. Ta yorwas rwa. Niba chik. Kechu niba chik yorwas. Tindri niba di ta ani saltu tiyan goya tang. Di kongpal tang goya di ta nganso ki kare kabab leden tsuti re ani karsa responsibility said chagore tirendo asira.
So however the beach is for the aquarium world, and since we are humans we have bigger responsibilities. So Buddha himself has stated that we humans have a unique capacity that distinguishes us from other animals and other species. Therefore, we should make the best use of our unique features and the capabilities, and it's also our responsibility to kind of try to make the most out of this potential.
당한주 밀야 토모마인비게 연된디 단 남주지라서라 그게 로션다 만드비 다 미기 남주디 아니 지 소수 친디기 디기 드비야기 남주도야 지부 많이 봐 아니 지 셴라야 편도 체투야 삼로 코리아 여바당 삼로 땅투바당 삼로 땅을 점아서 셴라 편도 체투야 니버디 일단 간주 밀라마도 돈로 메타지로스라
So, what really distinguishes us from other species is our intelligence. So we humans have this wonderful intelligence that distinguishes from other species and other sentient beings. And the intelligence that we have is not only capable of acquiring benefit for this lifetime alone, but it also has the capacity to include others within this and try to include others and to benefit others as well. So therefore, the intelligence to think about not only this lifetime, but also the future lifetime is something that is unique to human species alone.
빈자 점된디기 랍자디야 주 디토니다 랍자 견교로시 차데도 아스라 만줄이야 지 토모마인비기 남주 여바티 니버 여바티 아니 직살도 때야다 공발도 땅야기 타블럼 가리 예메디 더 점된디기 더 시슈신 송샤바도지 라 초징디디 딘지제도 아스타라 딘지제요레스
So then if we look at the Buddha's teaching, the entire teaching is really, directed for how can we, kind of use this intelligence and how can we rather expand the capacity of our intelligence for the benefit of a greater good.
Teni 다 좀된디기 진주기 야가리 케바초 다 케바 남주지 배는 공부를 줘야 셀러 소보다 하던데 페이지 야스치모 시월하게 송래 다나간주 툰루나로 잔주셈비 동바송 같이가 된투다 센데부여 미스 원레버토 대린산지 르수지 산지스 다주도세 세기 조주 세리 렌첸창월이 잔주셈제 등이 하고 자와서 다디 페시 야스치모 시월하게 송래다 라 디니 송래라 응원이기 아니 셴딩 쿠르케비기 빼 아니 로타체 투야 니마 데니 송데다 당원이기 미스고 레버토바레스 미스고 레버토 딘자 데니 송데다 뒤 데니 송데다 응원이 타네 아니 남주 프로듀싱이 템바산지 좀 된데기다 진주 뭐마드 차바레스 디존을 송고도 아스라
So not only the Buddha himself, if you look in the writings of his later Indian scholars who have written extensively about Buddha's teachings, also emphasize the same thing about how can we make use of our intelligence and how can we expand the intelligence. For instance, Shantideva has stated that in one of his works, where he says that, at this very moment when I attained the precious human rebirth, I should make use of it to be born as the kind of primary spiritual son of Buddha. And the point being made here is that, as soon as we are born as a human, we should try to really make the best use of this capacity and to contribute for a greater good. So that is what has been meant in this quote.
다들이다 다지 좀 된다 나신 투게는 다 현존 탈심바 용해라야 아니 조 남주기 셔럽고다스라 셔럽고요래 셔럽고그르스 라브 짬지 팽거 말이 셔럽 끼고래 셔럽 끼발라 아니 gyuden kien kari goguye tab kari goguye dazu 참았다 gogonza dazu 참아 송샤버지 로페나 셰럽 기비기 tab 시디 아니 무비 내룩 장한테 라 남주기 셰럽 기야기 tab디 무비 내룩 장한테레스 무비 내룩 장한디 비기 균세 리벌 때네 베나타 텐전 데원 조이 리벌 소버 안 딘지기 토네 아니 무비 내룩 때라 팝 딜 시온디 셔럽드 남지기 셔럽디 고 난기 깨용하지 딘디 인사로 왔어.
So if you look at the Buddha's life, he cultivated the altruistic intention or bodhicitta for the benefit of the entire sentient beings, and he has also perfected the kind of interest of others. So the fact that he could do that, he has kind of affected or culminated the interest of others. Is really depend on his wisdom. We should develop and cultivate wisdom to do that. And again, in order to cultivate wisdom, it is not simply sufficient to wish to have kind of cultivate wisdom, but rather we have to accumulate its causes and conditions and apply a different method to accumulate or rather to develop and cultivate wisdom. And the best means to cultivate wisdom is really to try to try to understand the reality or the nature of the true nature of the things. And here, when we talk about the true nature of the things, we must also try to understand the true nature of things by using different reasoning and logic, such as the logic of dependent origination and so forth, so on and so forth. So once we develop this kinds of reasoning and logic and things, cultivate, try to apply logic, then wisdom will be cultivated within us.
야, 당구비 내룩 비비리바 텐션 주원 좋은데 아니 직접 된데 펩니 쇠샤바지 텐디 많이 봐. 디쿠 란종게 내룩직 에기 토니 아니 내룩 드비아도 제대다스라 아 어디 진짜 뭐니츠 짱짱이야 뚝대고야지 뭐니츠 짱짱을 뚝치니 아니 남주기 셔럽 접단지 델타 탑신지 말아봤어요. 그래. 탑신지 말아봤으면 딘디도 들어왔더라. 딘디지 아니 सबदिन नाशाबदी nganzole tele labi niba yore laba ina shin tuge niba yore tinze dinji niba di chola matani ani tizu tel tani kali tel jamn rotu bana tangoni mi sibo lever toba sedi munze che chogo asra.
So here again, when we talk about understanding the true nature of the things, or rather the dependent origination, realizing dependent origination is nothing but try to look and understand the true nature of the things. And when we talk about the dependent origination or true nature of the things that Buddha taught, this is not something that has become a reality after Buddha taught so, but rather Buddha has just kind of highlighted the true nature of the things, but the fact remains always eternally. So therefore it is not something that Buddha has newly created, the true nature of the things, but the true nature of the things exists from time immemorial. So the point is that Buddha has really taught us the different means and methods to actualize the wisdom to understand the true nature of the things. Not only that, we individually possess the potential not only to understand the true nature of the things, but also to actualize it and internalize that wisdom into our daily basis. So therefore, we must try to make the most of it, and we must try to kind of utilize this. So if we could really utilize our intelligence in that way, then it will become meaningful, as it is stated that since then I have been born as a human, I will try to kind of make the most of it.
어디리 딘자 좀 된디 코랑인 바이네야 냠뇽 디사친 뇽 텐니 뇽운숨 텐치니 아니 시닝 안줄이야 달람된 안샤와시 디차기요라스라 토마 좀 된디 좀 된디 땅은 잠블링 난게다 미치긴자 잠블링 미케와 나시체네 아니 비키온디 지 갸비 카브텐디질이야 총 갸비 부질이야 총 아니 다 갸비 갸르칸나라 치당기 아니 베나타치 미친 디기 아니 튕긴다 벤적 돌성다나 푸숨 소바 용수 산딩이지 여르다이냐 디치고라야 이 마참바 이 마차바 아니 치소 코랑 네단마 시온디 아니 차마냐바다 단데 메바다 아니 지 총롱 더 딘디기 니술망부 여바 시지니 다니 아니 디 톨라바 가서다 지 리치 칸슨데 마소나 냠십 나니 아니 디기치 단데 메바다 차마냐바다 아니 딘디기 규게 용수 저바디 아니 쪼샘 디난게다 뉴문토섬 디난게다 지 쳔난기 닐룰라 몬베 마리바텔 텐데 투여바디페 아니 라트발 텐니 아니 마리비 님보 곰치네 아니 상기자와치 지단 딘디르라 아니 갸가기던데 가서 좀 된디긴 제남 차비자기 티네 때원디 응원에 당한서 좀 된디 제다 녀마르이네야 때모 데서질 좀 된디기만 통용조라치 제용조라치 서로리기도 하지라
So then if you look at the Buddha's life, the teachings that he gave us are really based on his own personal experience, and then all the teachings that he taught are really based on his own experience of seeing the condition and the situations of the world at that time. So if you look at the life story of historical Buddha himself, he was born as a prince, and then as far as being born as a prince, he has all the facilities and kind of, and he enjoyed the kind of best facilities within the walls of the kingdom. And however, regardless of having all these material facilities, he kind of saw many injustices happening here and there. And then, that kind of injustice prompted him to search deeper into the nature of a situation, like why this is happening, So that situation prompted him to search deeper into the life. So therefore, when he, not only satisfied with the external facility and the facilities and the enjoyments, he decided to delve deeper into the nature of the life. And then he found that, most of this injustice and the problems that and the miseries that people experience and people see in the world are really caused by negative emotions, destructive emotions, and primarily due to the fundamental ignorance. So he, kind of cultivated the wisdom which directly serves as an antidote for the ignorance, and then he became a complete enlightened Buddha. So similarly, if you watch the TV series of Buddha, made in India, so you can really, although we didn't personally met Buddha, but if you watch that TV series about the life of Buddha, you can almost feel like you have actually kind of visited or seen him in person. So that's a really powerful kind of TV series.
ngadi gewa rendo ji something daro ngone yaga 좀 된 zenam tabji ni chanzang 된 ba 내가 좀 알아줘서 이만 있으면 chanzang 된 ba 섬주 추즈 니버도 니 세나라 니 람산 딱이야 대신 상만 조주면 너님마 의게 돈을 여야 되시도 그 뒤에 손이 에 샘나라야 좀 된디 된진 차례 유러시가 비기 오늘 탑이야 유러되느냐 탑이야 유인바이느냐 그 나도 그딱 그 된지지 차례 여버지 뒤에 손이 백현사도 왔더라 되는 오늘 좀 된디 깔리 샘이 잡여봐 아니 오늘 콩이야 챤이야 까토바 슈드데나 오늘 까토바지 까토 댄신으로 아니 콜리견 여버디 당한주 처버 제토게 하더지 남편은 간주 춘중이 타와치게 되네 춘중 콩이야지 좀 된데스 나온데 사르스 나온데 당한주 미유라야 주니 아니 메데교서지 마도지 잠블리난 미지 임비 손난도지 요마라서로 다도 시야 잔이더니 아니 다조 겨울무지 까지리 갈럽 다조리 아니 베셔티스테도 지니 오늘 좀 된데 콜리 셈메 견치는더니 상지 여봐도 야차 야탄 말이야 삼성기 서로 용해진도 하서라
So I watched the entire TV series. It has around 59 episodes. I have watched the entire series, and it really kind of, it is a really powerful movie where after watching that, it can actually help me to at least kind of conjecture the, image of the Buddha in a more fresh way. So if you look at that, if you watch that and try to kind of revisit his life, we can really see and appreciate that he has truly practiced many different austerity and penances and put so much effort to get enlightened. So when we were younger and, in the monastery, when we try to think about Buddha, try to imagine Buddha, the image of a divine being come to our mind, but we can never associate Buddha being an ordinary human being who visited this world and then later become a complete enlightened being. So now, due to the guidance of His Holiness and being had the opportunity to study those texts, now we can actually imagine and really understand the kind of the effort undertaken by Buddha to become a complete enlightened being.
데니다 레다 지피게 셔럽드 남지 셔럽기야기 돌아야다 같이 나온디 아니 가서다 지 소보공 거야 까톱을 뗀 거야 학든다 쪼비게다 아니 뉴무 독섬게 아니 벤다 갑데다 마소나 란치니 아니 베준 체고디 잠발라 아니 뉴무 독섬 세디 매버소야 레라우지 싸워니니다 요마라와스라 가서는 안주 샘나를 단단 안주 샘나를 찬나라야지 안주지 규기 지금 대차당 컨트롤해서 로티데지 바 잠마소야 유비기 아니 딩이에다 파샤니 서로가 점래야디 각부 변도스라 다 디페 잠마 장장 지 소고 전하다 깔레 여바 뒤즈 땡고 여바 도리 자고 여바다 시우세냐로스라 다 딘디기다 카투 땡고디 소바 땡고디 잠발라 대 아직 무빈니 루질야 시치 마투나 아니 도리 코라 잡니 카투 땡투야다 신는 깔레 가보러 왔으라
So here, when we talk about cultivating wisdom to realize the true nature of the things, many other factors are also involved. For instance, we must remain committed and persevere to cultivate wisdom. And by applying all these, then we need to eradicate destructive emotions, the three poisonous, three primary negative emotions, and so on and so forth. So, obviously it is not easy to eradicate the destructive emotions within our mind stream, and now when we try to think about how can we eradicate and remove negative emotions from our mind, let alone being completely eradicated, it's a bit even difficult to imagine the absence of such destructive emotions within our mind. So therefore, for someone who has totally eradicated all these destructive negative emotions, we could really imagine that they have gone through a lot. They have put so much effort to really get rid of that destructive emotions. And in order to remove and eradicate negative emotions, we have to put so much effort and persevere over a long period of time. And that also that effort should be based on a reality or the true nature of the things, because simply being stubborn is not going to work. That stubbornness and the effort should also be based on a true nature of the things.
Tinza ten ko nilu pigi pina dujig chu ra gyudan kenla teni ani jongsul dia nilu jiras ra ledan dribi namja se dia nilu jiras ra and duzu sama la ya samlo tani ani cheondi pigi da ji gyuging toni jongwares lawandi gyugin sanging toni dribu sanging gi namja yungu yoba namja chegowa namja chechoya duzu sama lo tola sam tawandi ani sobo gom tuyachik zobo gom tuyaji tende yungu yasares.
So here here when we talk about cultivating wisdom to realize true nature of the things, it involves many different levels of kind of realization. For instance, when we talk about compounded phenomena, things being kind of produced or compounded by virtue of different causes and conditions, or when we talk about law of causality, cause and effect, all this really talks about the true nature of the things, or the reality, how reality functions, and so on and so forth. So when we reflect in this matter, what we can understand is that, particularly with relation to the cause and the effect, we can understand that kind of constructive cause will give rise to constructive result, and destructive causes will give rise to destructive result. So by reflecting in this way, we can see that even to kind of practice patience, even to realize that patience is needed.
Pigida gyudan kenla teni jongtsuki ani dushe matabi nesu sheondi ko keji gyudroya di gyurwondi gi ani gyuadi leg yagbi chale gyuyori tukbi chale gyuyori ani gyurya dia gyudan kenla teni jongwari gyugenla teni jongtsul diang rangi chawala rale rislaundi rangi lela rale wa rislaundi ani di nilu di tone semnang lodob kiyaji yon chogodasra ngi yakbuji chena tende yakbuji yonsari ngarang doja chena doja charsa samsam gi pigi nilu di to tuyajin doasra duji madabi nidan xiang di ngone gi su jan samdang ngi wana di to tuyajin doasra tinji chane yashi yatama milia lodob kiye tuyaji yungu yosares.
So here, when we talk about compounded phenomena, compounded things, how cause and effect, causes give rise to different effects, and so on and so forth. So what we can understand is that whatever changes that we see really caused by or rather triggered by different causes and conditions. And when we talk about change or being compounded by other things, we can see that change is in fact in our own hand. If you cultivate positive causes, you can make good changes. And if you accumulate a negative kind of causes, then the transformation will be destructive. So therefore, if we further delve deeper into this nature, we can really appreciate that, transformation and change is in our own hand. If we cultivate the positive causes, we can make the positive change. So therefore, the more we reflect upon the nature of impermanence, the more it will give us kind of motivation and kind of confidence that we can make positive changes and we can transform ourselves.
nganzu ta bi domban tindikol yungora harchila gyosamdang chinjela domsam tembi tone tini ani yabuchigin se tamja shajarasro tingoni hamma gi nyamnyong la teni ani nyamnyong yabuji sayobana tipe ani myntuni gyungyang tuyak samdayda nyamnyong dujaji sayobana dipe la jajani chima chinje tindiji 마지야기 탑시 때야로 소바 아니 리버 드림니 지 나이여서라스
So for instance, in some of the rights related with precepts, there is a statement that by feeling kind of regretful for the negative actions that I committed in the past, and I should remain kind of motivated to achieve positive transformation in the future. So the point is that if we had some positive experience in the past, we should use that and try to kind of enhance that experience to bring even greater positive change in the future. And if we have committed some or experienced some negative experience, we should try to kind of learn from that mistake and try to make sure that we kind of do not repeat that mistake again and does not commit more negative actions. So therefore, based on our own personal experience, we can kind of choose whether to make positive transformation or negative.
There's moving nilu tarak tindimambu jigtolaya samlutani river drivondi ranlaya lot of kiach loy top kiach semshu kiaji yachiyatama yon choksara the dillevaina ani zondrutsam tugyosari sobogom tugyosari samach tugyosata mitel loy top mena ani sobogom sadi shenun kalakawo Tinza sanji chomden digi sonjabe min tomomaybe namju purdu chong yongya di tabda sherab nigi toni yonggo yoba tabshi nigi yongya ge tabdiya yul ngubi nechula ya samdan nilula samdan rogo ya di ene sanji chomden digi ta tadrup senamudu di zo chagyo sares.
So here there are different levels of, different rather subtleties of the true nature of the things. And when we kind of, gain insight into these different subtleties of true nature of the things, it will kind of give us confidence or mental strength to face the world. So if we have that kind of confidence and the willpower, or rather the motivation, then not only do we able to put more effort, we can also try to practice patience and so on and so forth. So all these practices are really based on motivation and willpower, and that again in turn is based on understanding the true nature. So here when we talk about the human intelligence, or rather the wisdom that Buddha taught, it is based on two things: the wisdom aspect and the method aspect. And both the wisdom aspect and the method aspect again is based on the true nature of the things. So if we could try to search for the true nature of the things and try to kind of make some transformation based on the true nature of the things. This is this kind of encapsulates the Buddha's philosophy.
Diri dinzang anzula ya dindigi tomomayin bigi nipa cheta namju tren yobati nipa yobati tanganzu ngwenzen chetu gogo yasares ra anzu di tok tu bayna and di ani tembalaya shatu go wasra di agbu ngwenzen chetu bayna and kaddu ina sem nanglo la ya tembe nanglo la ya ani and this song to yach dit temple yobaina ani to the number kondo ta dinti ke sosula ya tomomayin bi mixe yoba di chola mandro ya tabshi ki samtang choksara ra
So the unique human intelligence and the ability to perceive reality, if we could recognize this potential, if we not only being recognized but also understand and appreciate this potential, then we will always kind of remain mindful, and we could always remember that we have this unique potential. And then if we are mindful about this, then we will kind of put every effort to make sure that we does not waste this capacity, we does not waste this potential.
Chidani nganzu namjunde dang yongda dawranda ta temba nyesha silabdigi ani china nigagi ro namba inandra menandra mambuji ta temba nyesha di keshimu shu tsigora ta tunguye netsugi nganzu ya temba nyesha di za chimbu ta chayorasra lakdun da ji pege ta nanchu ngonigi nanchu yandawa chingi jimbayna ani temba nyesha di pekeshimure dasra ani susu karchi tugre susu karchi tugmare susu karchi chogre che chogmare enta manzo tawado jimbayna ani 직 소소소 그 산삼으로 딱딱하지 신 디 템벌 여바이나 아니 가드 있느냐 아니 대단 망가와지 대단 통바지 지야지 아니 양직 소소라야 니바 믹서지 여바데 템비 요라 여바이나 니바디 아니 송겹 제투야 니바드 공발 단투야기 아니 배전당 상로당 탑시 참말로 아니 템버될 때는 용공인도지
So here, when they talk about mindfulness, this is a very kind of popular and common practice both in Buddhist and non-Buddhist traditions, and particularly, mindfulness is a very important practice within Buddhist tradition. So here, what the significance of the mindfulness is that it will really kind of help us to remember and kind of remind the unique potentials that we have, and what are things that we should kind of adopt and what are things that we should avoid. For instance, in the case of fully ordained monks or the monks, mindfulness will help us to remember what are the precepts that we should keep. So if we always remain mindful about the precepts, it will kind of help us, or rather protect us from the behaviors and the things that we should avoid, that we should maintain some distance. And not only that, it will also remind us of the unique opportunities and the potentials that we have within this capacity, and the means to expand and make the kind of the best use of the opportunities. So similarly, if we remain mindful about the unique potentials and the capacities that we possess, it will not only help us to kind of preserve that potential, but also to enhance that potential.
These are the kanjing answer di yores, the niba di yore, di niba di 지금 렌당도 지바는다 렌당 매버지 렌당 자원이 세계 마시와지 저 아주 미지 강자来깔리 잡셔 주티기 니버디 요고서는 요에베 교치 어딘디 당한절에 ran 치수비 렌당 디어버디 문진 치투바이나 문진 치투바나 덴덴 당한절 디펜서리스 딘디 니버 여버디야 니룩 돈이 드야리 우유 니숙 돈이 계절에 마도 연지 고고 소리 존돔 소리지 디 레면도 아스라
Yeah, so the unique potential that we are talking about is really precious, and even if we were to spend the entire kind of entire wealth that we have accumulated over a lifetime, we cannot really afford that unique potential that we possess. So therefore, it's truly important to recognize the unique potential that we have, and that potential is again based on reality or based on true nature of the things. So therefore, it's truly crucial to recognize this unique potential that we possess.
that nobody majunge nobody per majunge di ani gagen rodi nganzo juji nimutuksum konare mado jen kanye yosamares da di ani nganzo niba mixa wadi ya kongbal tanya yang gogen che dengi nimutuksum di sepi tabdi ani chomden di da tabdi nyamsuleni 무슨 뉴무세비 세바 톱 댕이 좀 된데 코란한 차거라서 대 공기 뉴무세비 탑라야 무비 내루 때 디코나레도 마도 아니 셴바 카야 송요 말레스 무비 내루 심비고니 아니 뉴무세 디코나 송요라스라
And again, here when we talk about the unique potential that we have, there are different means to enhance and actualize that potential. But there are also, on the other hand, there are also adversities or other or hindrances that will obstruct us to achieve and make the best use of that opportunity. So there are the negative and destructive emotions. So negative and destructive emotions always hinder us to actualize that potential, make the best use of that potential. So therefore, Buddha himself taught how to eradicate the negative emotions that will hinder us to actualize the potential that we possess. So the entire collection of the Buddha's teaching are really meant to teach how to eradicate the destructive emotions and how can we in fact actualize the unique potential that we have.
당은주 리버 드림니 뒤즈 땅니 그 우빈니루 때나 파발이야 아니 고긴 체슈디 샤당 라비 왕기 원드 손이 다지 아니 소와데도 용데 저라스 디기다 디기 아니 뒤즈만 보시오지다 디기 촐라단 거라서 다딘 고야기 체도다 dombananshas tangi samnara dombanaya di chagdang ragbi ge pigi wangi ta anchi lunga ki so de du nyonghe jora ta din goya chi zu be ani din goya chi do lunga ki choba ngus ka bi dombadi bena ta ji zenga so da cheni dombananche an di kelen cheni kelen di yobadi so su semlasha ani kadina di kelen do songyo chi bi toni 아니 무빈닐루야 상당원디 아니 무빈닐루 또투야지 대대 연구였어요.
이 잡도들 키지 쉬운 어디서 견도 봐 고려야 되면은
고문도
Hallelujah. So here when we talk about kind of put effort and spend a lot of time to actualize the unique potential that we have, the biggest hindrance is really our our tendency to indulge in the coarse levels of sensory pleasures, this will really hinder us not only to recognize the potential, but also to actualize that. So therefore, I think the whole concept of giving vows or monastic precepts are really meant to remove that, eradicate. So once you are given some precept, and once you are asked to keep those vows, what you're trying to do is you're really trying to maintain some distance from these gross levels of sensory, our tendencies to indulge in gross levels of sensory pleasures, sensual pleasures. So it will also, by keeping these vows, it will somehow maintain some distance from that. So the more we are able to keep the vows, and the more we are able to control our sensory, sensual experiences, the more we will be able to equip with our ability to recognize and actualize the unique potential that we have. And by practicing in this manner, then gradually we will remain closer to remove the gross levels of the obstructions, and gain insight into the true nature of the things. Yes.
There's that same zoinza, and then same mantruba, same pi moving nilu totuingi. That namje yongya did that kichishun and chishu tirenda. Tinza Nanzu the song of Chigway, Nenga Chishu di same things are is. And Jomden dig that Chidangi ko Nawadan Gaba Tinimambushu, song your day, Pena Changton Davidelia, now Zao in the Mason, Changton, no one Zao in the Mason de Goya, Genzen Karesna. And Nanzu Sam Tuyagi, Gugin Mambushu, Nanzu Sam Nano Koranda, Nede Yoba. Ti tolaya kazi sem tuyagi nembe gyagwaji da zawni ni mejo do chayanza ani chantong ya de na zawni ni mesa de genze zu diren da sara.
So therefore, Buddha has put so much emphasis on the importance of protecting our mind. So if you look at the different precepts and the vows that are given to the practitioners, there are many different levels, but most of them are really meant to protect our mind from negative tendencies. For instance, in Buddha's teaching, there is this precept of avoiding liquor or alcohol, for instance. Buddha said that we already have so much negative emotions within our mind that could disturb our mind, and that could hinder to actualize the truth. So why do we need an external kind of material or external substance to further cause even more disturbance within our mind? So therefore, the most important task is really to protect our mind.
Tirda metsi yakshu digi tuzu di kale mawushu gyab penjosu teni ara kongche shu tuzu nyu tong ani sem chun deva hina tadi kenza ubech ron kenza tadan chig tong deva tadi ngonne thani tad ani nongchuk shuj susula ya niba mixe waji yoba dipe chola tang chidu sosu kale gyab ani sosu chola tang zorji di chagdo asra.
So if you look into the situations where we put so much effort to make lots of money, and then once we have the money, we use that money to buy liquor, all sorts of expensive liquor, wine, or whatever, kind of intoxicants. And then if we ended up, drinking that lots of liquor, and then always remain distracted and disturbed, then it will be a very kind of a strange thing to see, because we are really destroying our own kind of tendency, own self. So therefore, it's really strange to see that we are kind of destroying our own potential.
오물루르 송 당이 식디 테마서 식디 된달이야 깜바니 쪽은 로딩이 돈로다고 차고레스 아 서비 돈로 망치에 깔라 시살 쪽 로거라 미 까니 깜바니 살쪽 정이 따조디 미러다 로 저다 깜바니 쪽 정이 좀 미차고르디냐 다 딘디기 리디 아니 깜바니 쪽 정이 돈로서로 차기도 왔어 아 딘디 송여레스라 데이터
So, for instance, Nagarjuna, in one of his writings, where he remarked that if we indulge in this kind of, behavior, then somehow the life of such individuals who extensively indulge in sensual pleasures alone are likened to those kind of creatures who walk on four limbs. So basically, we humans are called bipeds. We walk on two legs, but rather if we kind of solely indulge in sensual pleasures, then our life is no different than those who walk on four limbs. If you have any questions.
For a layperson, what precepts are there for that, or is that precepts are just for the monastic order?
Could you please repeat again? Sorry. Hello? Hello? Okay. Could you please repeat the question?
Are the precepts just for the monastic order, or is there precepts for lay people?
Okay. Tandakela domba sumra domba ti anso rabjungi domba chipure yana kimbala ende domba ti yores.
Kimberley yores. Yini domba tawadra.
So yes, there are precepts meant for lay people. So there is another set of precepts that can be practiced by lay practitioners as well.
What would they be?
Ti kandi na kagari nasagi kimbaki domba ti
You want?
Depends what they are.
Ti kari email ta yuresa gila domba tiso. They're really scary and tempting.
I did that. The Songshanga said you're the Socheba, and Lobayemba, and Zoo, Majimbalamba, then the Digalayata, any Changtonati, did Dombigi, any Kimbalayang, and the Digi Domach Layores.
So there is a sets of a precept that are exclusively given to lay practitioners. So the first one is to refrain from killing, taking life, and the second one is to refrain from sexual misconduct. The third one is refraining from telling lies, and the fourth one is to refrain from stealing, taking what is not given, and the fifth one is to refrain from taking liquor or alcohol.
That the Tambushavana, Yabu, some dang in Jimbana. rabshon yin goya si ki mundo asera rabshon member ina ya domba di su goya gi ngibar tu song goya chi chagdo asera manzu chi zog nala mi chi zog nala den lega chingi jimba ina ya ane chi mi chi zog nala tumbu chandi chi namju chen chi yonggo na domba di susu la ya pendo yoba jire ma do tin gogin che ji zao ni ma ras ani re ta chi chi zo ji ne le ga chin re ha du chi nam pu tu yong ji ba ne ya domba din di yong ji ba na nam min cham bu tum bu chin ne ya ji pen ji ma do di gi ne ya ji zao ni yo ma ras
Yes. So here, the precepts, that are given for the lay practitioner, or precepts in general, are really, how to say, can really make huge positive transformation and change in our life. For instance, even if we are, we are part of a greater society. So in order to create a more harmonious society, such kind of precepts and vows are truly important. And then even if you are a family man, if you could, keep such kind of precepts, and if you could practice the vows, then it will also contribute for the harmony and within the family. So therefore, there is no minus point for keeping the vows, but all, constructive.
tinanida pena sokcheba di zu mi sokcheba la ya to zu mari mi sokcheba la ya jaryo res mi sokcheba la di nyeba di chembu yonggo gyunzen dia danjingi danji shode da zu de chawar million tomo mai bi niba kebar jinji yobanza dinji niba chik chola tangbaina da di hajang gipe pambu kyong chembu jinbanza andela ya niba chembu zi yorwas ro.
For instance, if we talk about the precept of refraining from killing, here, killing a human being is said to be the kind of most, the biggest kind of sin. So the reason why that is that, as I mentioned earlier, we human beings have this, unique potential and intelligence. So if you kill a human being, you are not only kind of taking one life, but rather you are completely eliminating this entire potential and intelligence. So therefore, it becomes really destructive.
Ni bad jikshugda loyam dere nganzan zambali nangla ya nyogda chi de loyam gutone jiglego rasara thamu shewana ani nami tamzi nyamya dia loyam gutone rogo rasara muyu nisrasara tazo hajang gungo yogyo tindigi rindanjing ngobu tindi reda da dindi sosu ngobu tsu chik tsulenchin songgyub chetuwana ani ta nambi chiyo toni shena tsende de chima nigale ya tipen gores ani tse chima sang zao ni me dang yin jin ba ne ya tsende le ya ji changbu tumbu hakdo de ji so so sa sang yong yin jin ba ne ji ji le yi che lu ge che cha ya ge ani ne dang ji cha ge do asra.
And then now if we look at the second precept of refraining from sexual misconduct, this is again yet a very important aspect. For instance, most of the kind of affairs that we see, which are the main causes of broken marriage, all this can be protected if you keep the vows. So therefore, all the kind of precept and the vows are really pragmatic and practical in our daily life. And if you could kind of practice that, it will kind of bring lots of positive change in our life. And then if you are someone who who believe in subsequent future lifetimes, for example, a Buddhist practitioner, by keeping these vows, it will or not only bring positive change within this life, but also future lifetime. And then if you're not thinking about the future lifetimes, even within this life alone, if we want a successful kind of marriage, if we want trust between our own spouse or between husband and wife, then all this can be maintained if you kind of keep these precepts.
다 고마 그 준신도 되나 다 용해요 말았다 미 이치 지금 말에 소소에나 기부요 말에 다 간지 더 삼은 무고야 짱짱기 무고야 짱짱기 잘라디페 파 아니 잠을 속에서 담자치는 돈발 낸샤바이나 개선 니자 용돼야지 내가 렌지지 요반자 좀 된디 송샤바제 마도 지금 안주 자원이니 제무통에 제무와지 송샤바지 다 자원이니 문도 왔어요 요 말이지.
And then further, if you look at the other precepts such as refraining from stealing and telling lies, obviously, if you steal and tell lies, nobody will kind of give you any regard. So therefore, all the precepts that Buddha taught are really meant to preserve a very kind of a positive life in us, and all these precepts are not something that we cannot put into practice. They might be kind of difficult, but they are not totally beyond the purview of our ability. We all could practice this. So therefore, if we could keep the precept, it's a win-win situation.
Hi. It's okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, Geshe, the name of the movie of the Buddha you were speaking about, and if it's translated also or subtitled in English. Thank you.
Tumbiki zenam di korsumra titi inchikela tinte yona yama inchi wala tanda subtitle yoba tinte yora vesido.
잘 신게.
Re di pichi YouTube la yijiro kela.
YouTube 유센 나온 거라 나 저기라.
Yes, Geshe will he can share the link with you. The movie I think does not have English translation, but it definitely have with English subtitle.
패시 아니 좀 된딩 제놈 시티와 있나 콘전 제놈 타지 좀 된딩 제놈 시 인지도 전에 비기는 패시 샤링 거래.
If you search Buddha in YouTube, you will find the link.
Hi. I was just wondering, in relation to the not taking a life precept, where do Tibetan Buddhists sit in relation to abortion?
Abortion, right?
Yes.
So
what are the thoughts of Tibetan Buddhists on abortion? Is that something that people shouldn't do or not?
Okay, yes. Tibet tirisha ke langa to pyu nangten gi thone the abortion sit sane nga to tugu nge la chat se bi kaus la khasoro ta me so sha jora pu nga la chat sa che ta ma ji nga la chin chin be kap da nga to ta me ro sa ina ta ti thane anzo ji ku ka sha se ure ki ma chu ni ka she do ti thola ni pyu nangten gi ta dan khari yore din digre se gi yore ben ti mari se gi yore ti thola pyu nangten gi ta dan khande sa. Yes. So Tibetan Buddhism definitely prohibits the practice of abortion in general.
까야기 쌍록하나요 말아. 까야기 쌍록하나요 말이지. 수술 보고 차와도 수술 레인스. 디 송교 지야마도 까야기 쌍록하나요 말아.
Yes.
먼저 아무 콘솔에 보고 쭉지기요. 보고 가지 기에나다. 그 란종 감기 라탄리 상에 델리에 당연 체지마도 다 지금 마기로 친 쌍록하나요 말아서라.
Yes. So in early kind of time, no one was even thinking about going through the procedures of abortion. And for instance, Geshe has almost like 11 siblings, and during that time and generation, during that time, if you conceive with a child, then everybody will happily accept that. They would say, it's my karma to have this kid, it's my karma to have this child. So therefore, everybody will happily, accept that, and nobody will even think about going through abortion.
And 이 아저 gen시들 부숨도 보면 gem바지. 나연데 로니래 당가 되게 파윤이 카트니온데 로니라. 단다 몰로 숨주서 란지모다 레요 말. 몰래 보고 딩기 사다. 보고 디. 나 콘지지 보고 게 까고 삼성. 다지 보고 게는 아까가 책이 게 소투마. 샘르 거리 책임다. 소변내단 딘디기 빼나 다지 아니 딘디기 가수 땅땅 여바 딘디 싸우니 여 말아왔어. 이번에는 디고 손집치는 드라마도 디 매버서야기 상록으로 여 말에 디 제거로 여 말, 디 제바있나 딕발 찍어라스.
And another example would be the eldest sister of Geshe. And hello, 1 2 check. Okay. For instance, Geshe-la's eldest sister has 7 kids now. So when he first left Tibet, he was around 2 years. Geshe-la when he first left Tibet home, he was 2 years old, and now his eldest sister has 7 kids, and even now they're living a challenging lifetime, and they are not really kind of affluent, but still they never consider abortion as an option. So therefore they would happily accept the child and invite them in the family, and they would never consider abortion as an kind of alternative or an option.
Hi, this might be off topic, so you might not want to answer it, but I suppose one of the things I really struggle with is the concept of reincarnation. And I'm totally on board with the idea that there's no self. I get the death and impermanence thing. But the concept of reincarnation suggests to me that there's some kind of immortal soul going on, and I don't see how you can believe in death and impermanence, how you can believe in no self and still believe in reincarnation. And I understand the Buddha said that he didn't have a view on that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I seem to recall that the Buddha didn't have a strong view on it. It feels like it's this hangover from Hinduism, and I'd be really interested in what I'm missing.
맞아. 단다 코랑기 티바디 들으시게라. 지당 어쩐낭 베기 중에 다 두지 미타바 임비콜 숭고여러스. 이네 타나간조 양식이 콜 깨제죠와 라미 양식 총대와다 다 지왕아지 시샤비 양식죠라. This sometimes the Quran gets same like Kadi in the young Shamari young sea Levikasla Chia Takpege Daji ko Takpeng Ochi with Daji Namani Chima Dini Namani Dini Chima to the Watindita the Tichiru Peta to be shooting Chine constant you maybe Daji to Skin Rode or Sigura Tenditoji Sigi sort of Takwadi link to Chesa and Dujimita in Bakele Shimigala. 아니 직된디기 셰페 주인지 응아만은 디요 드니 치마드레 디 코나춘이 삼탄 투음도 디콜라 세시 나도 지스
데 자란 지금 말아서라 망체기 소수 만 로라 마숑야 기릭디 소수 로라 슝구요 말아서라 로라 아직 징안즈 로라야 슝구요 말다 로라 마숑스 나가지 아니 통구요 말에 서바체 투구요 말에 제마투디 켈렌치 투구요 말다 디 디군 리기어라스 켈렌치 마투디 켈렌치 마투바라스라 아 마도 양안즈 요 말에스니 가시기 소수 켈렌치 마투가 견전치니 디 요마레스 라데 디 용구요라스 디야 딱다 대기요 말아서라 남중간다 아니 라든다 드발레니 아니 미망보 다 기왕하시 꼴이야 저 되게요라 다 기왕하시 간다지 요레스 라 당한도 삼단데디 아니 기왕하시 요마르 생에 디 용구요다 기왕하시 요마르 생에 초라야 오늘 전에 균전 넘버 타와지 요르스나 네 섬는 야시 자도 요마르스 균전 양 타와지 토니 기왕하시 매바지 줍투고 요바나 먼저 킬링 그랬다죠 아도 지다 기왕하시 키밀링이 기타 미난게다 세토슈 디페는 세리버로 다 세리버 센데인지 임바이나 기왕하시 문도스니 단다바들 람용 얘기 말했어 마음바이는 예선은 라고 말했어 가서는 maybe 주시 니고 그러왔어 maybe 주시 니고 그러 수치기 니메 왔어 통요 말에 만통 진전 때는 매버스라는 디 코랑글 랍단지리만도 디 남다 책이요 말았어 딩안주 통마디리야 샘네 샤고야는 아디치 소르구였어
그래서 여기는 더 그런 게 똑바로 저 드리죠. 아주 시바디 생각만 내실에 용되지만 so this is definitely a valid question. Many people have similar views regarding this. So before I answer this, let's try to put this in a context. So there are certain things that are somehow temporarily beyond our kind of beyond our the scope of our intelligence, for instance, our reasoning. So there are certain things that we're not able to reason temporarily, but that does not mean that it does not exist. So not being able to see something is different from seeing the non-existence of something. For instance, even the kind of scientists, they are yet to provide a kind of a valid proof to say to prove the non-existence of reincarnation, or rather the past and future life. So if someone can really provide a valid proof about the non-existence of reincarnation or past and future life, then definitely we must accept that.
Any reason? Any anzugi shock that ningun javre ani gonda ye charge chiyorasra manzu chuzutta tanda chuzu chuni samra chigore gonda chuzu shivangawagi ta gonda khala ya buken cheja roda gonda khala la yanzu zongo se charge sam shagor dinganzu la yone yorasra 네 디마 산이기 charge shachen 아니 디치고를 로제메 charge shachen 디치디 디만주 아니 비긴 더 균투는 로고요라다로 딩안중 용요 조고요라디 아니 뉘제 맞다가 깨지긴 지바디 켈랭거를 깨지긴 지비기 내루데다 냠도 아니 내술 디 용고요레스 영하시 지고 말레스 디 용고요레스
그래서
디 깨진 하마 다가랑 교와 싸우니 매봐 gonda 디 니그레스나 디 켈랭거 디 니고 말레스 디치딘 뉘제 맞다가 켈랭바 대당 개왕하시 켈랭바니라 가와 싸우니 요 말레스
So here, when we think about the possibility of reincarnation or the past and future lifetime, it is important to think about the continuity of the consciousness. For instance, even in a day, we undergo different kind of process. For instance, right now it's around 12 p.m. and we make plans for the dinner. We make reservation for the dinner, and then we make plans for tomorrow, for the next time, so on and so forth. So not only we make plans, but we also kind of do that, follow that. So the thing is that although things are impermanent, still there is a possibility of continuity for that. So the self, or rather the person that have made the plan, and the person that is really kind of doing that, actualizing that plan, executing that plan, they are not this kind of the same. There is a subtle change within that, and the continuity is maintained. So therefore, although Buddhists do accept the concept of reincarnation and past and future lifetime, but there is a kind of impermanent nature on it. The continuity is maintained, but it's not as permanent same being that is going through, that is experiencing the both moments. So therefore, there is no contradiction between saying that all things, compounded things, are impermanent, and accepting the concept of reincarnation and past and future life.
Pena charangi lochobji chugu nishukavgi nisuldeso tanda tembanani yungurasa. Ngus tora. Inaya digi nis tanda pardo charangi lun gyua yobadian gyur yobadi charang tontugure semgu tsoan gyur yobadian tontugure wasra. Inaya kol dus le yobadi nima je dawa je lo je chene. Ani tanda ta ji nido nish sabshi part. Le yobadi karsa ta ngonsum tongbatrochi. Nyoi chogu yorasra. Inaya gyur yorada. Ti parale gyur rang gyur bachin de yormado gyur mandruba kechik same de yomares. Tinsa dindi kita anzu tong ngungyur silarda tong ngungyur gi ani nyongala teni mantong shindu ko gyurti ani poksuji son yores. Ti tende yon chogeres.
Now, if you try to look at our own life, for instance, you have memory of many experiences that you had when you were way younger. For instance, all these memories are maintained over time. So right now we are living in 2024, and since you are young and up until this time, we had undergone a lot of physical changes, mental changes. There are so much changes. We have grown up, and there are also many changes in the way we think. There are many changes in our mind. So the thing is that regardless of all these changes, we could still remember some experiences that we had when we were younger. So therefore, from that period up until now, we undergone through constant kind of process of change and transformation, a subtle constant change and transformation. So therefore, what usually says that there are certain things that are evident, that we can see with our own direct perception, and by using that experience, by using that direct perception, we have to infer the slightly hidden phenomena, or rather obscure things.
Thank you.
Okay. On page 12. From my two types of merits, vaster space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may become a chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best to complete guided paths, the teachings. May I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness in the minds of all beings at the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. Is my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace. May the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded path to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing excellent paths never be parted in all our lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may always be assisted by the mighty ones. May oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Janchu Sencho Rinpoche, Magya Panam Ke Gyoche, Kepanyam Pame Payam, Gone Gondu Pelvarsho.